Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Robin, this is Digital Wilds, and welcome back to Battalion Wars. In the last episode, we charged through the Tundran territories in the first chapter of the game, and we are now moving on to Striking Distance, the next mission, which involves our first experience of artillery combat, so that's exciting.
Welcome, Tsar Gorgi. Something to quench your thirst?
My son is blind to the threat posed by the western frontier.
Am I to take it that you wish to proceed with our arrangement?
Yes.
So, the pact is sealed.
So, with the appearance of our new vampiric, villainous German enemy, we are back in the game, and this is a fun mission because we get a couple of extra units available. So I skipped over a load of tutorializing there, but to cut a long story short, we've got our access to our assault veterans for the first time. These are like infantry if they were good. As you'll see, if you hold this charge bar down till it's at max, you can throw a remarkable amount of bullets at the enemy, and they become extremely powerful, including against like light tanks and recons and that sort of thing. Basically, we've got to take over those bases over there and over there, but they're defended by machine gun nests, which obviously we don't want to put our infantry in the way of, so we've been given a couple of artillery units as well. These are, in theory, fun, but in practice can be a little bit frustrating. But we'll jump into command and see that we've got very, very long-range fire that we can carry out with them. But basically, they are a bit rubbish at anything short-range, so I'm just going to switch over to a assault veteran just to keep the bazookas away from them. Okay, so now we got, some aerial stuff coming in, so over to the anti-air units, and firstly, get rid of that light tank. And a salvo of rockets should take that guy down fairly swiftly. Do seem to have got a couple of hits on us though, so we need to be a bit careful that our artillery do survive. Yeah, a little bit of damage to the artillery units there, which isn't ideal, but they do seem to be doing a good job at getting some long-range hits in on our enemies. Right, so we've got some other enemies there, so back over to the artillery, and we'll start bombarding that base. Well, we need to take out those machine gun towers first, otherwise they'll just massacre our infantry, so that's the key objective for now. With those guys down, let's proceed on foot. Come on, lads. And my standard infantry can go and capture those, I think. I'm gonna just quickly throw some artillery at the bazooka troops, just to soften them up. Sounds like our missile guys are taking care of that gunship unaided, but we'll just check in on them. Yeah, we seem to be okay. There are a couple of enemies still around, flame veterans particularly, who I need to make sure are sort of kept suppressed. That should do the job. Can also just quickly run them over if we want to do some damage at short range with the artillery. And over there, what do we got? We've got a light tank, so okay, some artillery can take care of that. Seems to take 2 hits from an artillery unit to take out a light tank, which isn't too bad a trade-off. They're a little bit slow-firing, admittedly, so you don't want to be waiting around too long, but oh dear, we've messed this up slightly. I didn't reckon on there being 2 tanks. Still, we've got the bazooka guys in now, so they should hopefully be able to do a decent... So you'll see here the very, very good range and power that you get on these assault veterans. I've managed to take out a machine gun nest from several hundred yards away. Okay, so gun tower there needs to go down, so we'll hit that with some artillery. In that goes. Another 2 hits should take it down. Okay, no more gun tower for us. Oh, another one there. Got to make sure that's taken out. Assault veterans at close range are going to deal with our bazooka enemies quite effectively. Gun towers are dangerous though, so you want to kind of make sure you do stay out of range as far as possible. There we go. Entire base of them cleared out very, very easily. The infantry can go in and take those. One more rifleman to take out, but that's no problem. And here we go. So now that these are taken, we should... I'm just going to go deal with these bazooka veterans who are guarding this pass, but yeah, they're out of the way. Unfortunately, I'm getting shot without being able to move, so that's not ideal.
Wait a second! That's the Exylvanian crest on those bombers! What the heck is going on? Greetings from Exylvania, Tsar Gorgi. Kaiser Vlad has chosen to decline your offer of an alliance and make war on both your armies instead.
So the not Germans have arrived, and in common with not Germany in the actual Second World War, they've decided to attack both sides.
In secret, I made a pact with the Exylvanians that would ensure victory for the Tundran territories, but I have been betrayed!
Looks like the Exylvanians scored in both end zones before anybody even knew they were in the game.
If either of our nations are to survive, we must unite against the common foe. What say you, Brigadier?
You got yourself a deal, Marshal. And call me Betty.
Well, that was an easy bit of diplomacy. And so with that, yes, we've got another faction introduced to the game. These are the Exylvanians. They operate quite similarly to the other two, but it's nice to see some variety.
Devastating attack on both the western frontier and the Tundran territories. In its aftermath, these two former adversaries put centuries of bitter enmity behind them by forming an alliance of nations. And so, the fighting frontier and the Tundran bear find themselves fighting side by side in a war which will decide the fate of both their nations.
Hey, so a good S rank there. Managed to get 99%, which is better than I was expecting, frankly. I thought we'd at least lose one artillery unit to those attack helicopters, but no, we managed to get away with it. So with that, that's another S rank in the bag. And I believe we're through the first chapter of the game now. So we'll be moving on to some slightly different locales from now. Yep, so we're crossing the ocean and we're over to the Beachhead.
Mission accomplished, Kaiser Vlad. We have swift destruction upon both our enemies.
Excellent news, Countess Ingrid. Proceed to the narrow side fields of the June Sea as planned.
As you wish, Herr Kaiser.
For too long, Exylvania has been the playground of frontier warmongers and Tundran despots. At last we will resume our rightful place in history as masters of these inferior nations.
Und wenn you are Emperor, Herr Kaiser?
Yes, Übel. I will make you Governator. Now go. Rally the troops. We strike again before dawn.
Yep, so we're going for a kind of mix of Dracula and Kaiser Wilhelm II and Hitler here, which is a good way of combining various folk villains in a way that nobody's going to complain about racial stereotyping because, you know, nobody thinks those guys are good. Anywho, we got a bit of a combined arms battle coming up here, as I recall. So this is a bit of an upgrade in terms of stuff we've got to keep an eye on during a battle, which is quite nice. This is one of those missions where the game really shines, I think, because we're trying to set up a sort of static defense, and it gives you a good mix of running around dealing with stuff in person as a single soldier, and also letting the game sort of do its own thing when you've got your defenses in place. So yeah, first example of a heavy recon. We can use this to machine gun enemies, not very accurately, admittedly, but you know, it's there. So I'm going to get out of this recon because it's terrible to steer, but we now have actually these troops, so going to fill these machine gun bunkers. So the combat begins fairly easily. We've got a couple of rifle troops to deal with, and they don't do a huge amount of damage, and there's only a few of them, so our machine gun and assault people should take care of them relatively easily. Going to keep filling up these bunkers with infantry, because we're going to need those soon, and infantry are more use behind a machine gun. Oops, so managed to almost lose the mission at this stage, because I cannot target their troops efficiently. There we go. So yeah, we're just going to quickly get our guys to take back that position before we manage to lose the mission by accident. Okay, so we've got some acid gas troopers coming up. They're effectively flame veterans, but just with green colouring on their flames rather than red. So they're obviously very short range, so easy to deal with via machine guns.
Uh-oh, seems that was just the advance party. We got multiple enemy signals inbound.
Yes, we have indeed. So come on, fellow artillery unit. Objective is to position the artillery up here. where they've got a good oversight over the battlefield. Okay, so we'll position Artillery 1 up here. So pop the artillery up here, and then over to an assault unit. Okay, so assault veterans with me. Not sure where all the infantry are, but they might as well come with me as well, and the bazooka guys. The recon can stay where it is. That's a good position to leave it in defense. And we'll dump a couple of our infantry behind the sandbags, where they can have a bit of protection. And now, yeah, you see the artillery doing its good job from its firing position up there. Plus, crucially, kept far away from these rocket troopers, who are the Exylvanian equivalent of bazookas. Okay, so managed to overlook some of the attacks there. Going to go over to the recon and use that to try and defend the flag. Might well fail at this point. Largely because I can't steer this recon at all. Yep, there we go. Okay, so actually going to need to leave some troops inside the fort this time. Got it. Okay, so this time, instead of leaving the flag completely undefended, which in retrospect was not a good idea, I'm going to leave most of the infantry in the fort, sort of guarding it. And then I'll take the assault veterans out to deal with the stuff on the beach. So, come on, rifle grunts. Yeah, most of you can wait here. I'll switch over to... Okay, so just going to stock up the machine gun bunkers with infantry. That should help us repel some of the earlier waves. And we'll get the artillery into position next, and then... Other than that, we'll try and just stand back and guard the flag. Okay, so from behind cover, we can lay down some good fire on these guys. I don't know why the infantry are all following me, because I told them to stay back at the flag. Honestly, guys. That's it. You stay here and guard this. Yeah, that's right, we need you. Okay, so we've now positioned the artillery. Now that we've got those in place, we've got a second wave coming in. I'm going to try and deal with some of these transport copters before they land, because might be a good way to just reduce some of the incoming fire. Oh, well, we're slightly too far away from it to hit it, so we'll have to do the other one, which isn't great. That one we can hit, though. Open fire. Okay, so I'm not sure that actually helped, but it was quite entertaining. Okay, they seem to be pushing in on the flag, so I'm just going to go up there and provide a little bit of extra support. I think our infantry can probably handle it, but, you know, I don't want to leave them too exposed. Yeah, they seem to be getting by alright. Ah, okay, here's a bunch of riflemen. Okay, well, we can deal with those at close range with the assault troops, so that's fine. It's actually quite hard to use your lock-on on anything that's on a capture point. That's actually very frustrating. This guy's... Yeah, there we go. If you guys wouldn't mind just quickly recapturing that, that would be ideal. Ooh, okay, so we're taking quite a few hits here. We've lost our anti-vehicle troops, which isn't great. We're going to have to rely on the artillery and on our assault troops to take them down. Good opportunity to demonstrate how powerful the assault troops are, mind. Yeah, so you start getting those up to their higher bits of the charge bar, and the tanks go down even though it's just bullets that's being fired at them. Okay, so we've got bombers on the way. That's less than ideal because our troops are quite concentrated and could be destroyed very easily. So, yeah, here we go. We get our first anti-air vehicle. Very nice. So I'm going to take over this for the time being, and this is basically like a souped-up version of the anti-air troops on the ground. So it just fires a big salvo of rockets. But good opportunity to demonstrate here that it'll tear apart vehicles very, very easily. It isn't much use against infantry, though, so you do want to be a bit careful, especially against those rocket troops. Yeah, because if I lose this anti-air attack, things are not going to go well for me. So back to the fort for me, I think. I know there's some fuel in here if I need to heal it up, so that's something. As you can see, these rockets are pretty useless at firing anything on the ground. Right, here we go. Bomber overhead. Gonna do some damage to us if we're not careful. And down it goes. Ah, oh dear, we've got another one overhead. Gotta be a bit careful about this. I think that's a Flash Gordon reference to War Rocket Ajax. Bombers aren't very tough, or should I say the anti-air units are very tough, because we've managed to destroy pretty much all of them. Oh dear, so right, I'm going to concentrate my troops on dealing with those. Yes it is. I suspect they probably will. There it goes.
An outright victory is a tremendous way to begin a new campaign in style.
Well, we've won the campaign at least, even if our anti-air died at the last minute. Quickly shoot these prisoners. That was a bit of a scrappy victory, but it was a victory, so I'll take it. Only an A rank there, sadly. Yeah, lost a lot for technique, which is losing troops. But we did it quickly, and we destroyed most of the enemy, so that's something. Alright, so we unlocked the heavy recon and the AA vehicle. We're getting close to having unlocked most of the units by this point. We'll get some more interesting ones towards the end of the game, but I think for now, yeah, we're collaborating with the Tundrans, which is a nice change from our usual state of fighting them. Yeah, so as you can see, this is our first experience using heavy tanks, which is rather nice. They are significantly faster and better, basically in every way than the light tanks. Right, well, straight into combat here as we start taking out these Exylvanian guys. We'll demonstrate the firepower of this heavy tank, which is significant. Plus we've got flame veterans for dealing with infantry on the close range. So Silver Star first, that'll help us free up the Tundrans. First things first, got to deal with this artillery. But nice and easy to take down, especially now that we're out of the range of its guns. So that goes down immediately. That helps us free up the Tundran troops from being under siege. Yep, gunships incoming. I'll keep an eye on the skies for those. There they are. So we'll get the rockets going on them. Nice and long range from the anti-air unit, so he goes down immediately before we can get within firing range of us. Okay, so they seem to be dealt with. Okay, got some extra infantry coming in, so back over to the tanks, I think. Oh! No, not so soon. Got to use those anti-aircraft units now. Okay, with their second gunship unit down, let's start blasting away with these tanks. They don't have the greatest range on their main guns, is the main thing. You can sort of arc your fire, but it's not a very efficient way of shooting. And if you want speed and completing these levels, which you do, because it's one of the criteria for an S rank, you can't really rely on them. Right, you are. Well, we haven't taken any losses yet, but I imagine that will change in the next few minutes. I think we're going to hold this bridge, so it's going to be a bit of a defensive one. I'm going to let the anti-aircraft hang back a little bit so they're out of range, but yeah, it's looking like tanks and stuff crossing, so going to want those bazooka vets up front. Now, obviously, we've dealt with enemy heavy tanks before. These are pretty similar to the Tundran ones, but with our own heavy tanks and our bazooka guys shooting at them, that should be fairly easy. Anti-aircraft now, and over to the air defense. You know, it'd be useful if they did some kind of combined arms stuff. That would probably be a more effective way of fighting us, but apparently not. Maybe that hasn't occurred to them. And down it goes. And we got anti-infantry stuff going on the ground. I've got rocket troops, yeah, but the tanks will deal with those fine. Just got to deal with this gunship, which I can't aim at. And there we go. Not too much damage to us. Just going to go back over to our tanks and mop up the last of the infantry, but it looks like we have defended the bridge successfully. Back over to this Silver Star, it looks like. Yes, we're on it. The Tundrans are being particularly useless here. They've only got about 5 infantry. They're not doing anything. Leave the tanks in defense here, go over to the anti-aircraft unit, and that should be enough to see us through the next couple of minutes. Particularly because the gunships won't start firing until they get into position, so we've got a bit of time once you see them start coming in. I imagine that's not going to be the only thing coming at us, so move up here and yeah, go over to the tanks. Oh yeah, here we go. Right, flame vets in you get, and they're burned away very easily. Okay, so it looks like we're on to our main objective. We've got a, yeah, it's a 5-minute static defense. Okay, we can deal with that. Particularly if we can shoot down some of their transport stuff with our anti-aircraft unit very early. Okay, so here we are at the defense point. I'm going to drop one tank over there, and we'll leave the other tank over here, and I'll go over to being anti-aircraft unit. Yep. And we destroy that before it lands, so we don't get many enemy troops falling out of it, which is nice. Good bonus early on. Didn't mean to use that. Looks like we've got enemies coming in behind us, so over to one of our tanks, and we'll try and defend the spaces as well as we can. If my anti-aircraft unit would get out of my way, that would be ideal. So a lot to keep an eye on now. We've got gunships coming in. Okay, so another transport coming in, yeah. Right, anti-aircraft on that. I cannot at all see what I'm doing, and I suspect it's probably going to land because of that. Oh, right, yeah. Enemy heavy tank, got to deal with that. Keep the anti-air... Oh, tried to keep the anti-air out of the way, didn't work. Right, bazooka troop. And that's the heavy tank down, at least. And that guy's just standing there enjoying the beach. Sorry, no day off for you. There we go. Well, we're down an anti-aircraft unit, which is... We're down both anti-aircraft units, which is really not ideal, because I don't know how we're going to shoot any of them down now if they come back in, but... Only another 2.5 minutes to go, so hopefully we can hold out for a little while longer. Right, this is just going to be a case of throwing everything at it. We hit it with a bazooka. I mean, it does do damage. It's just difficult to land the hit. Okay, so that's that down. Everyone on that other gunship, that also needs to go. Right, there is some anti-aircraft stuff going on. It might be the Tundrans. I don't have command of it, but that's okay. That'll help a bit. Right, another tank coming in. I think one of our tanks is down, or possibly both, neither of which is good. Okay, so their tank is now dealt with, and our flame troopers are still intact, so we can deal with their infantry well enough. Right, another 100 seconds of defense here. I imagine that they're going to leave us be for the last minute, or because this is a video game, perhaps they won't. So, right, we've got most of the units still intact, apart from the tanks and the anti-aircraft, which unfortunately were our most useful units. So concentrate fire, everyone. Uh-oh, enemy heavy tank. Okay, we've got some more coming in here. I don't know what they're going to drop off on us, but I think we can hold this for another 25 seconds. Fingers crossed. Right, that wave is entirely destroyed. Back to the defense. Hope they don't grab the flag anytime soon, but I think we should be alright. Tank there. Right, everyone pile on it. Might as well get some extra power rating out of this level, if nothing else. And down it goes. There we go.
Commander, I want you to regroup at the lighthouse.
Oh, what? We're not done yet?
Until Nova's extraction choppers arrive. Head for the Gold Star.
We can't hold out. We've got no troops left. I thought this was the end of the mission. Oh, God. And those gunships are going to destroy us. Right. Okay, well, we don't have anything else we can do. We just got to hope for the best. Come on, lads. I imagine these transport copters are not bringing us milk and cookies. No, they're bringing heavily armed infantry. Who could have thought? Well, we'll just have to deal with those the old-fashioned way, shooting them in the face. Fortunately, they seem to just be rifles, so they're not too tough. And the Tundran anti-aircraft are coming with us, so that's something. We've got some opposition to these choppers. Yep, there we go. Can't command them, but they should know where to aim. Just grab as many medipacks as I can until that point. Probably going to die, but yeah. Oh, I don't want to be a flame veteran. No one wants to be a flame veteran. Right. Well, that didn't end well.
You were supposed to be defending our Tundran allies.
Oh, come on.
Mission failed.
Okay, so this time I need to preserve at least one of the anti-aircraft units, which will mean leaving them well inside the base outside of tank range. Okay, so this time looks like we've kept both the anti-aircraft units alive. We've lost a lot of bazookas, which isn't great, but it's probably better because we're not facing any tanks on the way out. However, we're still facing plenty of gunships, so I'm going to go over to them for the retreat. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Actually, at very close range, the anti-aircraft works quite well against tanks because we can actually hit them with our explosives. Alright, come on, troops. Nothing else for it. Gotta get out of here. Uh-oh, gunship overhead. From the minimap, anyway. Oh no, more of them. Let's see if we can shoot down both transport copters. Nah, doesn't look like it. Oh well. Still managed to get one and take out a significant chunk of the enemy. Also, our flame vets are still alive, so we can use them to deal with any infantry that might cause us trouble. Okay, we've made it to the start. I don't know how long we have to hold it, but... Well, it says 30 seconds, but there's no actual timer, so I'm not going to trust it because it's a video game. Just going to destroy as many enemies as I can before they come and get us. Nice and easy now, we've got the anti-gunship stuff going on. Oh, there's a tank over there. Our tank can go and deal with it, that would be great. Yeah, that's the only thing remaining.
Thank you, Brigadier. Without you, all of my brave comrades would have been lost.
Yeah, instead only half of mine were.
I think I told you before, Marshal Nova. You can call me Betty.
You're safe for now, but soon you will learn that there's no escape from my righteous vengeance, my fleeing Tundran foes.
So an A rank for that mission, very good. Lost a little bit on technique, but, you know, considering we got wiped out in the first attempt, I'll take it as a second try. So we get the heavy tank unlocked, and let's do gunships of the desert. I imagine this is probably going to involve... so this is about destroying gunships rather than captaining gunships. We'll get to air combat later in the game, but nonetheless, we've got quite used to destroying gunships by now, so this shouldn't be too difficult.
Salutations, Commander. Your primary objective for this mission is to capture the enemy-held neurosite field.
Okay, seems reasonable. We've only got a few troops on hand here, but we're doing a sort of SAS-style raid towards these airfields. Getting absolutely bodied in this recon by those gunships, so hopefully our infantry guys can deal with that one fairly soon. Yep, down he goes. If I can get some fuel soon, that would be great. Okay, there's some on that. Destroy that one over there. And then this last one here.
Enemy tanks are closing on your position, Commander. Head for the Silver Star.
Okay, let's get out of here. Come on. Alright, well, we destroyed 4 gunships. That's pretty good going.
The river using the bridge up ahead.
Yeah, if I can aim at it, which is not a given these recons. Looks like those anti-aircraft troops did not survive, which was not particularly surprising. Looks like I might not survive either if I keep Oh dear. Oh no. Oh, this is...
I always suspected these weaklings did not have the stomach for a real fight.
No, I just can't steer
Now
the
my
recon.
suspicions are confirmed.
Fine, back with you in a minute. Right, so we know the drill. Send in the anti-aircraft veterans.
Enemy airdrome commander.
One more gunship to take out, and then I'll head over the bridge again. Godspeed, you magnificent anti-aircraft troops.
You should traverse the river using the bridge up ahead.
Right, so let's try not to smash into the river this time.
The bridge is damaged, Commander. Put the pedal to the metal.
Right, aimed it about as straight as I can get it, and this time looks like we'll actually land on land. This is so sluggish and awful. I don't know why the vehicle controls are so terrible.
Gunships are highly
Aerial
equipped
combat.
air combat units that are designed to destroy enemy tanks and infantry units.
Yep, and as we'll see here, they're very effective at that task if they're not opposed by anti-aircraft fire, in which case they do sort of melt like butter. And we see here, yeah, heavy tank to deal with, but we're in a gunship which cannot be hit by it, so absolutely no problem for us. This game, not being an entirely serious military simulator, does use slightly weird terminology for, like, division and battalion when it's actually talking about, like, 10 guys. Okay, so those guys seem to have been taken out. This is nice and easy with the gunship. I do forget how much I like aerial combat in this game. Okay, so now we've got infantry to deal with, and a machine gun up there. Miniguns are the ex-Sylvanian equivalent of the assault troops, so a bit dangerous to helicopters, but not too bad when they're isolated. Okay, so that's a good sign not to take the gunship with us for now. Go into a tank, and we'll go and destroy that on the ground. Oh yeah, that looks like it over there. Lovely. And as you see, they are a little bit dangerous at range, but mostly they'll just miss us, so we can just close in with our tank and wipe that out. They're not very heavily armoured. I think they've got the same armour as a light tank, so yeah, any kind of explosive will do a good job against them. Right, so that's down. Actually, no, it isn't down. No, there's another one. Well, it doesn't have any anti-air cover now, so onwards. Back to the gunship. If I start getting shot at, I will deal with it appropriately. Oh, a tank down there.
Meet again, Colonel Austin. This time I have prepared a warm welcome for you.
Okay, so that's their heavy tank down. Their rocket troops will soon follow. And yeah, there are bunkers ahead, so I'm just going to pause for a second, see if we can destroy those from the air, or at least scout out where they are. Yep, there's one. Which I seem to just be out of range of with mine. Oh, no, there we are. Okay. So that's one machine gun bunker down. There's another one in there, I think. There's a tank as well. So you'll start to see the intense power of aerial support here, particularly when you're out of range of all their anti-aircraft fire. So we can take down these two heavy tanks, and then we'll have cleared the way for our ground troops to go in. Oh, managed to get caught by a stray heavy tank shell there. That's less than ideal, but doesn't do too much damage to the gunship for some reason, despite the fact that that would really hurt in real life. Okay, so with them down, we'll switch over to one of our ground units, preferably a tank. There we go. And now we'll go, firstly, smash the remaining machine gun tower that remains for us to enter the fort, and then we will smash our way through the remaining enemy. Okay, so we've got 3 flags to capture and an anti-aircraft unit to take down before it destroys our gunship. I suspect the gunship will probably find a way to not survive anyway. Yep, there it goes. But it did a decent job for us in terms of destroying tanks and clearing the way for our infantry to take these towers. So, first things first, we'll get the infantry onto that one. Send the assault troops over there. And we'll take this one ourselves. So we've got some unfortunate reinforcements here who we're going to have to deal with, following an unfortunate game crash. This has not been treating us with the most stability in the world during our streak of emulation, but we should be able to get through the game despite it. So the anti-aircraft unit's down, not that it was going to be doing much good anyway now that we're without our gunship, and we'll take out this heavy tank here. So just this machine gun bunker to deal with now, and then we will have, I think, destroyed everything on the map.
Incompetent fools! How dare you let those inferior specimens get the better of you!
Good job, Commander. By capturing and holding this base, we have cut one of the enemy's primary lines of supply.
So an 80% ranking there is not brilliant. We got a big hit on the technique to 46%. I'll let you in on a secret and say that we had to re-record that episode, and in the original run-through I got an A rather than a B ranking, but nonetheless, we've done well enough to get through, and next time we will be proceeding onwards further into the Dune Sea for this mission Black Gold. Looks like that's going to mean taking some bombers into enemy territory, which is going to be an exciting addition to our repertoire of aerial vehicles. If you've enjoyed this episode, keep the channel growing by subscribing. I'm also on Patreon at patreon.com/digitalwilds, and I will see you next time. Thanks very much.